What's up? I'm glad you have tuned in today. My name is Perry Noble, and I pastor a church in the upstate of Anderson, or in the upstate of South Carolina. Anderson, actually, we have several campuses, one in Anderson, one in Greenville, one in Florence. We're about to start one in Columbia, and I'm just honored to be here today. I've been asked to talk about something I'm passionate about, or they actually said I could talk about anything I want to for 9 minutes. So if you follow me on Twitter, you probably think I'm going to talk about food because I do love it, and eating is my spiritual gift. But I think what I want to really just boil it down to today and just be very simple, and it's going to be a little controversial because some people don't see it this way, is the one thing I think God's been drilling into me over the past 6 months is this. A movement of God cannot be planned, but it must be prepared for. Let me say that again. A movement of God cannot be planned, but it must be prepared for. One of the mistakes I believe that we, not you, we have made as church leaders is we try to plan a move of God in our church. We spend hours and hours and hours in meetings trying to strategize what the Holy Spirit is going to do. I'm not against strategy meetings. I'm involved in them. I'm not against planning, but we can't dictate to the Holy Spirit what He can or cannot do. And we can't duplicate what He's doing in another church, in our church. A movement of God cannot be planned, but it must be prepared for. Now, people have asked, now where do you get that crazy idea? And I get that crazy idea from the place I get most of my crazy ideas, the Scriptures. Everybody in the church knows about Acts 2, and the church blows up and 3,000 people getting saved, and the choir singing Just As I Am, and Peter calling people forward. I imagine it was an amazing day. But the foundation for Acts 2 is actually, Acts 1. And if you look in Acts 1, especially verses 6 through 8, they come to Jesus and they say, hey, Jesus, here's the deal. Are you going to restore the kingdom of Jerusalem now? And Jesus goes, actually, I'm going to let you be my witnesses to all the world. If we're going to prepare for a move of God, we've got to listen to the voice of Jesus. Jesus said in Acts 1:8, and you'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem and Judea and all Samaria, and then the ends of the earth. In other words, Jesus said, I'm not here to do what you want me to do for you. You are here to obey me. And one of the things that we've got to keep in mind as leaders is this is not our church. It's His church. And He loves it way more than we do. And He's smarter than us. And He knows more than us. And He's more powerful than us. And so what we should spend the most of our time doing as leaders, instead of strategizing and telling Him what He has permission to do, is be on our face before a holy and awesome God and say, God, this is your church. These are your people. What is it that you want to do here? One of the things that I've always said is that leadership is as easy as listening to God. And the biggest leadership mistakes that I've made in my leadership are the times that I've just refused to listen. The second thing that happens in Acts 1 after they listen to Jesus is they deal with this major leadership challenge. You know, Judas obviously was a bad leader. He betrayed Jesus. Betraying Jesus equals bad leader. And so they replaced Judas with another guy. I mean, and the whole end of Acts chapter 1, you can read through it. They dealt with the leadership challenge. They said, we're going to listen to the voice of God. We're going to deal with the leadership challenge. And when that foundation was laid, Acts 2 happened. My question to church leaders would be this. Are you dealing with the leadership challenge in your church? Do you have the right people in the right places doing the right things? Or do you have a benevolence ministry going on because you're afraid to have a hard conversation with somebody that can't get a job done? We as Christians are called to higher standards. And if we want to prepare for a move of God, we've got to have the right people in the right places. And then all of a sudden, something like Acts 2 can happen. He's the same God. He can do the same thing in our churches that He did in Acts 2. He is capable of blowing our minds if we'll simply get on our face, ask Him what He wants to do, deal with a leadership challenge, and then let Him, I mean, does it not blow people's minds that there are still churches in America that schedule revivals? That is the most, God, dear God, you can move on this particular week. Now, Monday's Bring a Friend night, and Tuesday's Pack a Pew night, and Wednesday's youth night, and this night, we're going to have some pizza there because people get saved because of pizza or whatever. It blows my mind that people schedule this. Let me end with a story very quickly. One of the most amazing things that's ever happened in our church happened in 2002. August 11th of 2002, we had 504 people. August 18th of 2002, we had 970 people show up. And within 4 weeks of that, we had 1,600. We went from 500 to 1,600, and we still don't know why. We didn't send a mailer. We didn't start a new series. We didn't do a newspaper ad. We did nothing except for the 2 years before that, we desperately listened to the voice of God like we try our best to do today. We worked hard dealing with the leadership challenges. And because of that, God moved at a time when we did not expect. We did not say on August 18th, God going to blow this place up. God moves how He wants, when He wants, because it's His church. We can't plan a move of God, but we can prepare for it. My question to all of us today, myself included, is what are we doing to prepare for God's movement in our church? Thanks for letting me be here.